Hey everyone, welcome back.
It's great to be back.
Today we're diving into a topic that I think will resonate with just about everyone listening: digital detox and happiness.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
We've got a stack of really interesting research articles and personal stories.
I was actually just reading one this morning.
And basically our mission is to uncover, what does the science actually say about how our screen time affects our happiness?
Right, because, we all feel it, right?
Yeah.
You spend too much time scrolling, and you just feel kind of gross after.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just as guilty of it as anyone else.
Me too.
But before we get too deep into the nitty-gritty, I'd love to hear your take on what exactly is a digital detox? Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions out there.
Yeah, there are.
Some people think it means throwing your phone in the ocean and living in a cabin in the woods.
Well, it can be that extreme,
Yeah.
but, it definitely doesn't have to be.
Right.
The way I see it, a digital detox is really just about taking a conscious break from screens.
Yeah, okay.
It's not about, abandoning technology altogether.
Right.
It's more about, creating some healthy boundaries.
Okay. So it's like hitting the pause button, not the eject button.
That's a great way to put it.
So what's the big deal then with all this screen time? Why is everyone so worried about it?
Well, look, the average adult is spending over 7 hours a day staring at screens.
7. Seriously?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's more time than most of us spend sleeping.
It's crazy, right? And a lot of that screen time, let's be honest, is not exactly adding a ton of value to our lives.
Yeah, scrolling through social media or mindlessly watching videos.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's fine in moderation, but when
Yeah.
it starts to take over our lives,
Right.
that's when we start to see some negative consequences.
So what are some of those consequences? What's the downside of all this screen time?
Well, one of the biggest concerns is the impact on our relationships.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
When we're constantly checking our phones, we're not fully present with the people around us.
Right.
And it's really hard to connect with someone on a deep level
Yeah.
when you're distracted by notifications and, you're half listening.
It's like you're there, but you're not really there.
Exactly.
It's almost like being a ghost, like a digital ghost.
It's funny you say that because
Yeah.
there's actually research that shows that even the presence of a phone
Oh, wow.
can decrease the quality of a conversation.
Just sitting there on the table.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just being there, even if it's face down.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's like it creates this invisible barrier between people.
So it's not just about how we're using our phones, it's about the fact that they're even there at all.
Yeah, it's like this constant reminder of all the other things we could be doing.
Right, all the other people we could be connecting with online, all the other information we could be consuming. So it's no wonder that people are feeling more lonely and isolated than ever, even though we're supposedly more connected than ever.
That's the irony of it all, isn't it?
It's a total paradox.
We have all these tools to connect with people, but we're actually using them in ways that are disconnecting us.
Yeah, so it's not just FOMO, it's actually creating more loneliness.
Right, exactly.
So relationships, that's one big downside.
Yeah.
What else? What are some other ways that excessive screen time can affect our well-being?
Well, another area of concern is the impact on our mental health.
Right.
There's growing evidence that all that time spent online, especially on social media,
Yeah.
can contribute to anxiety, stress, and even depression.
Makes sense. I mean, social media is like this highlight reel of everyone else's best moments.
Right. It's like everyone's on vacation all the time.
Yeah, and everyone's got the perfect body and the perfect relationship and the perfect job.
Exactly. It's so easy to fall into this trap of comparing ourselves to others.
Yeah, and feeling like we're not measuring up.
And then there's the constant stream of notifications and updates.
Ugh, yes. It's like you can never truly relax.
Right. Your brain is always on high alert, waiting for the next ping or buzz.
It's like I'll be trying to have a conversation with someone and my phone will buzz and my brain just goes,
whoa. Yeah, I know.
It's like I can't even focus on the person in front of me.
And that constant state of hyperarousal
Yeah,
can take a real toll on our nervous systems.
makes sense.
It's exhausting.
So we're stressed, we're anxious, we're sleep deprived, we're lonely.
Yeah, I know it sounds pretty bleak, but
That's a pretty grim picture you're painting.
the good news is that there's a way out.
Oh, okay, there better be.
And that's where the idea of a digital detox comes in.
So you're telling me that by simply taking a break from our screens, we can actually improve our mental and emotional well-being.
That's what the research suggests.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
But how does it actually work? What's the magic behind a digital detox?
It's not magic. It's actually pretty simple. Okay. When we disconnect from the digital world, we're essentially giving our brains a chance to reset and recharge.
It's like hitting the refresh button on our minds.
Exactly.
So, what kind of changes can we expect to see when we start incorporating digital detox into our lives? What are the benefits?
Well, I'm excited to dive into all of that with you in our next segment.
Okay, cliffhanger. I'm on the edge of my seat. But before we go to break,
Yes.
I have to ask, what about you? Have you personally experienced the benefits of a digital detox?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And what's been your experience? I'm dying to know.
Well, I guess you'll have to tune in next time to find out.
All right. All right. Well, listeners, you heard it here first.
That's right.
We're going to be back after the break to unpack the amazing benefits of a digital detox.
So don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back. So, where were we? Ah, yes, the amazing benefits of a digital detox.
I'm all ears. Lay it on me. What kind of transformations are we talking about here?
Okay, well, one of the most immediate changes people notice is a deeper sense of connection with their loved ones.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
When you're not constantly glued to your phone, you can actually be present with the people right in front of you.
It's like you're finally able to see them, hear them, really listen to them.
Exactly, and that deeper level of connection can lead to stronger relationships, more meaningful conversations, and just a greater sense of belonging overall.
It's like you're actually there, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well.
Right, exactly.
It's like you're finally giving them the gift of your undivided attention.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's something that's becoming increasingly rare in our hyper-connected world.
So true. So true.
Another benefit that people often experience is a sense of mental clarity.
Oh, yeah, I can see that.
When you're not constantly bombarded with information and notifications, your mind has a chance to finally quiet down.
It's like you're giving your brain a break from all that digital noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that peace and quiet can be incredibly empowering.
It's like you can finally hear your own thoughts again.
Yeah, it's like you're reconnecting with your inner voice.
So you're saying that a digital detox can actually help us to become more mindful?
Absolutely. Mindfulness is all about being present in the moment, without judgment.
Right.
And when you're not constantly distracted by your phone, it's much easier to tap into that state of awareness.
Makes sense.
You start to notice the little things that you might have missed before.
Like the beauty of nature, or the taste of your food, or the sound of your loved one's laughter.
Exactly. And those little moments, they add up, you know,
They create a richer, more fulfilling life.
and a happier life too.
Okay, so we've got deeper connections, mental clarity, mindfulness. What else? What other benefits can we look forward to?
Well, one that's often overlooked is the impact on our sleep.
Oh, yeah, sleep is so important.
It is, and unfortunately, our digital devices are not exactly doing us any favors in that department.
Yeah, I've heard that the blue light from our screens can mess with our sleep patterns.
Exactly.
Is that true?
It is. It's because that blue light interferes with the production of melatonin, which is the hormone that helps regulate our sleep-wake cycle.
Oh, wow. So even if we're not consciously feeling stressed or anxious, our bodies are still reacting to all that screen time.
Excellent.
And that can make it harder to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up feeling rested and refreshed.
That's exactly what the research is showing.
So by simply reducing our screen time, particularly in the evening, we can actually improve our sleep quality.
Absolutely.
And that can have a ripple effect on our mood, our energy levels, our focus, our productivity.
All of the above.
It's like everything starts to fall into place.
Exactly. When you get enough sleep, you just feel better in every way.
Right. So to recap, we've got deeper connections, mental clarity, mindfulness, better sleep.
You got it.
What else am I missing?
Well, there's one more benefit that I think is really important to highlight, and that's creativity.
Oh, yeah, I was just reading about that.
It seems counterintuitive, right? Like you'd think that all that information and stimulation from our devices would make us more creative.
Yeah, like we have all this knowledge at our fingertips.
But actually, the opposite seems to be true.
Really? Why is that?
When we're constantly plugged in, our brains are always in this reactive mode.
We're always consuming, always responding, always multitasking.
Exactly. And that leaves very little room for the kind of deep, focused thinking that's essential for creativity.
So it's like our brains are too busy processing all the external input to generate their own internal sparks.
That's a great way to put it. And when we take a break from all that stimulation,
Yeah.
our minds finally have a chance to wander, to explore, to make connections that might not have been possible before.
It's like we're giving our brains a chance to breathe and just be.
Exactly. And that's when the magic happens.
So you're telling me that by simply unplugging, we can actually become more creative?
That's what the research suggests.
That's amazing.
And this boost in creativity can manifest in all sorts of ways.
Like what? Give me some examples.
We might find ourselves coming up with new ideas for our work or our hobbies, or even just new ways to connect with the people we love.
I love that.
We might feel inspired to write a song, or paint a picture, or start a new project that we've been putting off.
So it's not just about feeling better, it's about actually doing better, creating better, living better.
Exactly. And all of this is possible simply by taking a break from our screens.
Wow, this is all sounding so good. I'm almost afraid to ask, but are there any downsides to a digital detox? Like, what are some of the challenges that people might face?
That's a great question, and it's something that we definitely need to address.
Okay, hit me with it. What are the potential pitfalls?
Well, one of the biggest challenges is the fear of missing out.
Ah, yes, FOMO, the
FOMO.
dreaded FOMO.
It's a real thing and can be especially difficult to overcome when you're first starting out with a digital detox.
Because you're so used to being constantly connected, always in the loop.
Right, and it can feel like you're going to miss out on something important if you're not checking your phone every 5 minutes.
Or if you're not seeing what everyone else is doing on social media.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Most of the time, what we're missing out on is not actually that important.
It's just noise, right? Like it's not really adding anything of value to our lives.
That's
It's
right.
just this illusion of connection and importance.
And the more time we spend plugged in, the more we reinforce that illusion.
So how do we break free from that? How do we overcome the fear of missing out?
Well, one of the most effective strategies is to simply remind yourself that you're not actually missing out on anything truly important.
Okay, so it's a mindset shift.
Exactly. You're choosing to prioritize your own well-being, your own peace of mind, your own connection to the present moment.
It's like you're saying, I'm choosing to be present in my own life rather than living vicariously through the digital lives of others.
That's a great way to put it. And once you start to embrace that mindset, the fear of missing out starts to fade away.
And you start to realize that the real connections, the real experiences, the real joy is happening right here, right now, in the present moment.
That's beautiful.
So we've talked about the fear of missing out. What other challenges might people face when trying to disconnect?
Well, another big one is simply breaking the habit.
Yeah, it's like anything else, right? The more we do something, the more ingrained it becomes in our brains.
Exactly.
So it's not just about willpower, it's about actually rewiring our neural pathways.
And that takes time and effort.
So any tips for breaking those bad digital habits?
Absolutely. One of the most effective strategies is to start small.
Okay, I like that.
Instead of trying to go cold turkey, which can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly.
So baby steps.
Baby steps. Maybe start by setting aside just 30 minutes a day for a digital detox,
Okay, that seems doable.
and then gradually increase that amount of time as you feel more comfortable.
I like that it's like you're easing yourself into it rather than jumping in the deep end.
Exactly. And another helpful tip is to be really specific about your goals.
Okay, so instead of just saying, I want to spend less time on my phone, you might say, I'm going to avoid checking social media during meals.
Exactly. The more specific you are, the more likely you are to stick to your goals.
Makes sense.
And another thing that can be really helpful is to find a support system.
Oh, yeah, like a digital detox buddy.
Exactly. Someone who can hold you accountable and encourage you along the way.
Or maybe even someone who wants to join you on your digital detox journey.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Because it's always easier to make a change when you're doing it with someone else.
It's like having a built-in cheerleader.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reach out for professional help if you're struggling.
Oh, yeah, there are therapists and coaches who specialize in digital well-being.
Exactly.
So you don't have to go it alone.
Exactly. There's no shame in asking for help.
So we've talked about the challenges, the benefits, and even the unexpected perks of a digital detox. But what are some practical tips for actually implementing this in our daily lives?
We'll dive into all of that in our next segment after a quick break.
All right, I'm ready to get tactical. Stay tuned, listeners. We'll be right back.
So we were talking about some more of those unexpected benefits, those kind of hidden gems you discover when you start to unplug a little more regularly.
Yeah, and I think one of the most fascinating ones we came across in the research was that link between digital detox and creativity, like you were saying before.
Absolutely.
It seems kind of counterintuitive, right? Like we're so used to thinking of technology as this like, this tool for creativity. We've got all these apps and programs.
Yeah, you'd think it would boost our creativity, right? Having all that information at our fingertips.
Exactly. But the research is actually saying something totally different.
Yeah, it's pretty wild, right?
So what's the deal? Like, why does unplugging actually seem to boost our creativity?
Well, one theory is that when we're constantly bombarded with information and stimulation, it's like our brains are just on overdrive all the time.
Like they're just processing, processing, processing.
Exactly. And it's exhausting, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't leave much room for those quieter, more subtle thought processes that are really essential for creativity.
So it's like our brains are too busy reacting to the external world to actually generate anything new internally.
Exactly. It's like we're so busy consuming that we forget how to create.
Wow, that's such a powerful image. Like we're just stuffing our brains full of information, but we're not actually digesting it. We're not actually making anything new out of it.
Exactly. It's like we're just, hoarding all these ingredients, but we're not actually cooking anything delicious with them.
Yeah, and then we wonder why we feel so creatively blocked.
But when we take a break from all that input, when we unplug from the digital world, it's like we're finally giving our brains a chance to breathe.
It's like we're creating space for those new ideas to emerge.
Exactly. And it's amazing what can happen when we give our minds that space.
So it's not just about feeling more relaxed and refreshed, it's actually about enhancing our cognitive abilities.
Right. And this boost in creativity can manifest in all sorts of ways. We might find ourselves coming up with new ideas for work projects, new hobbies to try, new ways to connect with people.
Yeah, or even just new ways to appreciate the beauty of the world around us.
Exactly. It's like we're opening ourselves up to a whole new realm of possibilities.
And who knows what amazing things we might create.
It's exciting to think about, isn't it?
Absolutely. This has been such an eye-opening conversation. Thank you so much for sharing all of this incredible wisdom with us.
It's been my pleasure, truly.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on this deep dive into the world of digital detox and happiness.
Remember, even small changes can make a big difference. So start today and see what happens.
Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep diving deep.